Christina Cabrera from the Environmental Justice League of Rhode Island. A few questions to start with first. Could you please show the slide with all the contact names? I think it was the second slide. Thank you.
Well, this presentation will be up on
That's okay.
the Rhode Island
Yep.
website as well.
I have been project manager for over 25 years or more. And if something goes wrong in a project, and I say, oh, I'm not responsible, the corporation is responsible, I'm gonna get fired. So I disagree that you personally don't have a responsibility in this project. And a corporation, yes, you represent the corporation, National Grid, and National Grid will be able to move forward with their plans with your personal involvement, and it's important that your personal involvement is based on integrity and on a clear understanding of the impact, environmental justice impact, racial justice impacts, health impacts, and all the toxicity and pollutants released in the air, creating climate change. That's a personal responsibility that you cannot waive, and I'm asking you when you go home to please think carefully about it and don't pass that responsibility to a corporation or an entity that's faceless, because it's not faceless. Because you will get fired very quickly if you do something wrong from National Grid's perspective. So there is responsibility as a project manager. I want to know who the project manager for National Grid is for this LNG facility. Who is the project manager?
If you want information about the liquefaction project itself, you can visit the Fields Point website. I'm the project manager for the remediation activities that we talked about tonight.
Okay, so as a project manager, do you understand what's going to happen after this road?
The road?
The road that you are going to build now. Are you the project manager for the entire no LNG facility? Or for just the remediation and the road?
I manage all site investigation remediation activities on this entire property.
So that's the LNG.
Are you going to also continue with the project and be part of the installation of the LNG facility? Yes or no?
I will be involved in all construction activities on this project.
So you have a big picture understanding. As a project manager, you have a big picture understanding and the small picture as well. All the steps and all the pieces that you need to take in order to build the end goal facility. And that's what the community should have too. They should have the big picture. We should be able to speak about the big picture, and you should not be able to fragment and cut off information that's vital and that's contextual to this first phase that you're doing. That is not integrity. You said, quote, and it's probably been taken note, we are, as National Grid, we are well versed in the control of contaminated pollutants. So I don't have the history that many have from living in Providence and going through all the experiences in the area, and have not personally done the research specifically on all the violations, although our neighbors and teams have, on the violations of National Grid. But I can say that in the leak of this past spring, I can say that the community is very well versed in the dangers that you expose them. And the many days that nothing happened, nothing was addressed in terms of cleanup, with the toxics and the pollutants already in the air and the buildings and facilities. Let alone all the details that I know that happened that night, with people not being able to get off on an exit, with people smelling this leak so bad that they were getting dizzy and were having problems driving. A cigarette would have created an explosion right here, and there was nobody competent on the site to evacuate, completely evacuate the area. You did. Your LNG plant, with this competency that you have already proved and demonstrated over and over again, is adding and contributing to a danger zone, a zone that's already a dangerous area. It is not relieving the residents or the population of the area. It is not ensuring their safety and their health. It is adding additional danger, posing extreme danger, because this is a flammable plant where you're condensing your liquefied natural gas and creating a potential explosive should anything happen, should a hurricane hit, should a leak happen. So there's always human error, There materials leak, pipes leak. I'm in construction. Don't tell me that there's not going to be an accident. Don't tell me there's not going to be a leak. I know full well. And this is the reason why we all carry insurance, right? If we didn't have insurance, we didn't need insurance, it would be safety proof, but it's not. So, you're bringing a flammable explosive next to facilities like the Univar chemical plant that has been discussed here, but produces chemicals that are very, very dangerous, some of which are gases that were used in World War II in the gas chambers. In 20 minutes, people are killed. So if your plant, which is the source, the flammable source that can ignite the explosion to release all these chemicals into the air, is built in that area, the impact zone is 14 miles. The damage that can be created in a very short amount of time, and the radius, the impact is huge. And you need to consider that your integrity you need to look at your integrity and your soul and say, can I do this to these people? Because think, if your daughter lived there, if your son lived there, if your loved ones lived there, would you sleep well at night? Or would you have nightmares? Or would you be worried? I want you to think about that. On the National Grid website, there is a video that I've watched myself informing about the LNG plant. I hope it's still there, because they state that this plant is really only to supplement 4 or 5 days maybe of the year, maybe on a peak winter, maybe one winter that we had a lot of snow, maybe it was 9 days. But this is not to feed the Rhode Island area, this fuel. So, I am asking you, if you need to spend $180 million of our money to give heat for 4 or 5 days a year, your math is terrible.
That's why they charge us so much on that bill.
And so I ask, that is an insult to intelligence. That right there is an insult to the intelligence of the community. And so I ask, why are you building this plant? We have done our research, so I'm going to listen very careful to your answer. I would like you to respond, please.
We, this evening, are here to talk about the solid ground regulating procedures for the project, and we're not here to discuss that. If you have any questions about the Fields Point liquefaction plant, you can visit the website.
Right, so that's the fragmentation right there that blocks the community from information. You don't block the community by tying up their mouths, you block them by these actions and responses like these. That's how you block meaningful community participation and full knowledge and full disclosure and transparency of what you're doing. Your hands are dirty if you're not able to disclose fully. I am sorry, but I'm holding you accountable. Let me just say, so that it goes on record, that this fuel is going to be shipped and exported, and this fuel comes from fracked gas. And I want to know more about that fracking process, but of course you're not going to answer it here. You know that you follow policy and you repeat it, just like all bureaucrats. When you frack and you inject so much energy into the earth, you can't stop the outflow of this gas, and you're producing more than your market, more than what you can sell. So, in order for your pockets not to go on the red, and in order to make profit, you need to make sure that you find markets that will buy the gas that it's outpouring from your fracking process that you can't stop. And so you're going to sell to other markets, other than to Rhode Island, because we don't need it 4 days a year. It does not warrant an LNG plant for $180 million and all the bad effects that we've already talked about. So you're a profit-making industry and corporation that can care less about people, and that is very clear. And I urge you that transparency in your answers. The reason why you are building this in this location where you don't have wealthy communities and power monies stopping you. You have people who have been silenced and marginalized and oppressed generation after generation, and you're banking on that. You're banking on their silence. You're banking on them not being able to come here because they hold 2 jobs or because they have a family and they can't come without childcare or language barriers or actual misinformation or no information at all. Or the police.
If people were not able to attend tonight's meeting for any reason, there is a public comment period that follows this meeting, and they can submit any questions they have on the information that we presented tonight.
Then they have to be able to read and write, which we know we're the most illiterate country.
In closing, I just, again, reiterate, this is not an industrial area. This is the center of a capital city in the middle of neighborhoods. Not only in the middle of neighborhoods, but next to an artery that connects all the neighborhoods. And anything that damages, spills over, and affects that artery will be spilled over to not only the next door neighborhoods, but all the others as well. So I look forward to another meeting, a more meaningful public engagement, which this is not clearly a public engagement in decision, co-decision making. And I hope that you can sleep tonight. Thank you.